Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices, and you can sign up for product alerts. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and this week the big Essen Spiel Fair is going on in Germany, arguably the largest game convention in the world. And so I just released yesterday a video of my top 10 best games that are releasing at Essen that I've already played. Now, if that is a list that you're gonna wanna watch, because those are tested, tried and true ones that I've already filtered through the garbage or the not so good games or the forgettable games, and bringing you ones that I already know are excellent and that are gonna be at Essen for sale. So check that list out. This one is my top 10 most anticipated. So I'm gonna go over what the games are, why I'm excited about them. These are kind of a crapshoot. They could be great, they might be not so great. Who knows? But these are my top 10 most anticipated.
Number 10.
The first one is a short little two-player card game called Rest in Peace. Now this game, it only takes 15 minutes, and it's similar to like Battle Line, or also known as Schattentoten by Rainer Knizia. It has that feel, because you're playing cards of different ghost suits, and you're doing it from like, the numbers range from 1 to 6, and you're doing that on a specific mansion. Now mansions are laid out, and each one of them is kind of like a little mini game that you're sort of fighting over one at a time. Now, when you win them, you're winning these tokens or a special ability. So each player has a deck, and the deck is sort of like a reverse pyramid. Like there's 1 6s up to all the way down to like 6 1s. Now you're playing cards, and kind of like the game Red 7, if you're not winning at the end of your turn, well then you lose that mansion to the other player. Now the winner gets the token, and the loser gets the special ability card that's there. So it's really interesting. You might purposely lose just to get this ability because it's really going to help you. Because there's 2 different types of tokens. You're trying to win either 4 manor tokens or 3 castle tokens, because there's a little less of the castle ones. So it just seems really interesting. It has, again, that Battle Line or Schattentoten, playing cards, Red 7 trying to win or you're out, but also trying to decide which ones to forego and allow them to win. Maybe they're getting the token, but you're getting the ability that you can use. Or maybe you really need that token, even though that ability is really going to help them. This seems like it has a lot going on for such a quick 15-minute game. I'm really looking forward to this one. It's from Blue Cocker Games.
Number 9.
Number 9 is a game called Bequest, and this is an I Split You Choose card game for 3 to 6 players, where you'll strategically split the fortune bequest to you and your villainous neighbors. Now you're selecting asset cards from a deck to split to the player to your right, and then after they choose, well, you get what's left, and the player to your left is doing the same for you. Now there's a lot of different asset card types, like matching gadgets for exponentially increasing dollar values, or hideouts for set collection dollar values, or maybe even trying to avoid ending up with evidence, which costs you like $3 each one. After you have like 3 or more. There's also global influence that gives you $10 or $20 if you have more than your neighbors. So there's a little bit of balance there between your neighbors there. And schemes provide unique scoring conditions based on the rest of your collection, what else is going on there. There's also special powerful asset cards that really ratchet up the tension of splitting and choosing. I typically like I Split You Choose. I wish more games would use this because it is typically very interesting. And this just seems like a good twist on that. It seems like and the art looks cool. I like the theme. And this is being brought by WizKids.
Number 8.
Number 8 is Scout. This is a ladder climbing game where the cards have different values on each half of the card. And your cards cannot change order from left to right, but you could flip your entire hand over to the other side after you've been dealt the hand to change what's in there and obviously what order that they're in at that point. Now, since you can't change the order of the cards in your hand when you play, you're playing adjacent cards in your hand that are either all the same number or in a consecutive run in either direction. Now, when you beat the previous play, you capture those cards, which are going to be points. But instead of playing, you can scout, which is the name of the game, and this is taking one of the cards on either end of the set that's currently on the table that was most recently played, and you add it anywhere in your hand, which is important since you can only play adjacent cards. And at the end of the hand, you're basically getting points for the cards you've collected, minus the cards in your hand. Now, I like card games. I like ladder climbing games. This one seems very interesting, but I'm even more interested into it because my good friend Stephen Bonacore, the Podfather, said that this was like the hit of the Gathering of Friends, Alan Moon's convention, that he played this. He said it's amazing, and Oink Games picked it up and is bringing it out. And Oink Games is at location Hall 5, G113.
Number 7.
Number 7 is Murano Lightmasters. Now this is a beautiful looking abstract puzzly strategy game where you're actually glass blowers. Now there's actually glass components in the game as well. And it has an interesting wheel which facilitates the way that you gather or swap pieces by turning a multi-ring sort of gizmo. And you use those pieces to complete cards, but you get more points for having less resources left over, so you're trying to be efficient. Now those collected cards can be flipped to use special abilities associated with the icons that were on those cards, and those abilities are different each game. Now this is 2 to 4 players, 30 to 45 minutes. It's from Matago, and they're at location Hall 3, E102. I like puzzly sort of strategy games like this, and it looks beautiful. It's got a really cool theme. For all those reasons, it's on this list.
Number 6.
Number 6 is a game called 1923 Cotton Club. Now in 1923, the bootlegger Oni Madden acquired an establishment in Harlem, New York, and named it the Cotton Club. Now his idea was to use it as a cover to sell alcohol during the Prohibition, but the place grew in popularity, and the talented artists such as Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong, Ethel Waters, and Cab Calloway turned it into a jazz mecca. Being a saxophone player and loving jazz, this is right up my alley. Now in 1923 Cotton Club, you basically will oversee a club during complex times of Prohibition, and you're going to be smuggling alcohol. You'll have to look for partners in the criminal world and invest money to hire artists and improve your club, all to attract the most important and influential celebrities of the era. Now you'll be making improvements, asking for loans, getting tip-offs, associating with gangsters, smuggling, hiring artists, and attracting celebrities. Now, all this to collect more reputation than all the other clubs in New York. This one, I love the theme. I love the look of this. It kind of reminds me in theme and look a little bit of Speakeasy Blues from Artana games I love a lot. And the theme itself just drew me into this game, and just the aspects of what you're doing. I looked a little bit at the rules, and it still looks very interesting. This one is for 2 to 4 players, 45 to 60 minutes. This is from Looping Games. They're in location Hall 5, C121.
Number 5.
This next one, number 5, is called Bad Company. Now, you're going to build your gang and customize it to suit your plans. You'll be gathering resources to complete heists and money to recruit new gang members and making sure you escape the police. Now, this is from the award-winning designers of Automania and Trails of Tucana. Now, each player has a board with 11 gang members, and you may upgrade them by placing overlapping cards onto them. Now this way, the visual appearance of your gang members change as they gain more abilities. In each round, active player simply rolls 4 dice and divides them into 2 pairs. And they can pay coins to reroll if they want. But each pair of dice activates 1 gang member on the active player's board, but all other players also get to use one of the pairs to activate a single gang member on their boards. Now, activating a gang member provides resources needed to complete heists. It gives you money to upgrade your gang members or advance your car through the city. Now, you want to advance your car because you need to stay ahead of the police in order to collect the loot along the city route. Now, you'll also be gaining points by completing heists, upgrading your gang, and by driving your car through the city. So, some of the completed heists also provide special abilities which you can build your strategy around. I love the art. It's proven designers. I love it in games. It kind of took like sort of that roll and write style thing where you roll, but other people can use dice. And I like that because even though it plays up to high player counts, 1 to 6 players, there's low downtime because everybody's involved in every turn where you're picking one of the pairs that they picked. And you're doing these different things. I like the theme. I like the art. I like that dice mechanism. These designers, they know what they're doing. Aporta Games does good stuff. Who's the publisher of this? 30 to 45 minutes, and Aporta Games can be found at Hall 3, E107.
Number 4.
Number 4 is called Amelia's Secret. Now, this is an escape game in augmented reality, AR if you will. Now it comes with a free companion app, and first, players, you'll be placing all the game cards, or the AR markers, in their indicated locations in their own space, like on a table, on a wall, on a piece of furniture. And then using your smartphone or tablet, players will be scanning each AR marker to display the room's three-dimensional objects. For example, a magical mirror or a sink full of blood, if you will. Now, it is an escape game. That means players must resolve enigmas using the right object at the right time and in the minimum amount of time possible before the mansion closes forever. Now, every once in a while you come to one of these games, and I know that just because it has an app, some people just are not going to be interested in this. And every once in a while you see a game that looks very fresh and looks very different. It's got AR, and is it a gimmick? Yeah, it seems kind of gimmicky, but this could either be absolutely amazing that brings a new thing into the genre that people can now use in all sorts of different ways, or it's going to be terrible. I don't think there's going to be any middle road for this one. But I'm gambling on it because it seems so cool. When if you look online, you look at the pictures and the things that happen and the way that some of these things look when they're in your own house, just seems like it's going to be like a cool little thing. It's for 1 to 4 players. It's 20 to 60 minutes. It's by XD Productions. They're in Hall 3, 0106. They're also in Hall 5, D112, Black Rock Games.
Number 3.
Number 3 is called Corrosion. Now, each of you manages a factory and deploys engineers to build up diversified scoring and production engines. Now, in this steam-filled air, your biggest enemy is time, because most machines and gears rust very quickly. So you're well advised to also produce chrome gears and invest in rust-proof, powerful chrome machines. So you're building an engine, but the engine will always be corroding away over time, so to be successful, you must cleverly coordinate your engines and your corrosion wheel and smoothly shift from one efficient engine to the next. So you'll be playing engineers that gain you new machines and qualified engineers. Now, other players can copy your engineer's actions by playing an engineer of the same suit but of a higher grade, or you're turning your corrosion wheel, which puts your machines to work and returns engineers to your hand, but also causes old gears and machines to rust. This just seems so clever that you've got this sort of engine building game and you're building up efficiencies, but as you use them, it's going to decline and become less efficient and less useful. And you're constantly going to be building engines and pivoting and building engine pivoting. It just seems like a really cool concept. Plus, it's got engineers in there. I'm an engineer, so that's kind of cool too. This is for 1 to 4 players. It takes 1 to 2 hours to play. It's from Deep Print Games, and Capstone Games is going to be bringing this one to North America. Location is Hall 1, E114.
Number 2.
Number 2 is called Mortem Medieval Detective. Now, this is a game of deduction and adventures, and it takes place in a grim world shaped in the image of medieval Europe, with its legends, superstitions, and fears coming to life. Now, you'll take on the roles of secret organization agents and investigate mysterious and thrilling events. You'll solve mysteries and encounter fascinating characters in the course of 3 exciting scenarios, all part of one big large storyline. Now, each case requires up to 3 hours to play, and you're free to explore the world of Mortem in any way you like, depending on which agents you choose. Now, you can put objects under surveillance, or send agents to secretly search, or interact with them in many other ways. Now, you'll gather information by interrogating suspects or talking to them. Now, you'll choose your own way in advance through the game at your pace and your way, either using sort of the kick in the door approach or by being stealthy and discreet, trying to avoid unwanted attention. Now, this seems really interesting. When I read this on Board Game Geek, it made me think a little bit sort of like Detective from Portal Games, where, again, one big game with multiple scenarios. Each of the scenarios take up to 3 hours. It's kind of an open world. You do what you want. And I'm going to be curious to see how this differs in gameplay from sort of Portal Games Detective. I love these sort of deductive aspect crime-solving games. This is from Arcane Wonders, and this is for 1 to 6 players. Again, each of those different scenarios lasts 2 to 3 hours. And I'm really interested to see how the mechanisms of this game work and how it's going to be different from Detective, the Modern Crime board game from Portal, but this one really interests me because I just love these detective and deduction style games.
Number 1.
Number 1 for me was a no-brainer. As soon as I heard about this game a few weeks ago, I just knew it was going to be number 1 on this list. This is Azul Queen's Garden. This is the 4th in the Azul series of games from Next Move Games, who's owned and part of Plan B Games. So you'll look for one of those booths at Essen. And this is the 4th Azul. For what I know about the game, and what I've heard about it, it is the most involved game of Azul out of all the 4. There's more going on. You're building your own board. Now, in the other Azuls, you're only dealing with and worrying about the color of the tile. And in this game, in addition to that, you're worrying about the icon or the symbol on the tile. You're going to be drafting tiles, and when you get those tiles, you're going to be placing them on your own board. You're going to be building up a network of colors and or symbols. But the drafting is different, where in normal Azuls, there'll be many different sort of factories that you take the tiles from, where in this one, it starts with one tile. And then once all the tiles are gone, that sort of that tile flips over, and players can now draft that and put that on their board. And so there seems like there's just a lot more going on, where it's going to be a lot more tactical, a lot more pivoting as to what comes out, because there's not as many pieces out to draft, but also having sort of those factory tiles on your board, having regular tiles on your board, and trying to do all this networking with different things. So it seems like there's going to be a lot more going on than the other games, but it doesn't seem like it's overly complicated either. It just seems like once you get used to it, it just seems like you're going to have many more decision choices and many more things to think about as you play this game. And anything that's going to bring more and more to Azul, I'm loving. So number 1, Azul Queen's Garden. Well, I hope this has helped you sort of learn about some games that you never heard of, or maybe learn a little bit more about some games that you may have heard of. So if you're going to Essen, check these out. If not, maybe contact the publishers and find out whether they'll have these games in your neck of the woods. This has been the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships through board games by helping you on the next one you'll love. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table to a high-quality gaming solution, they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with their amazing, thematic, premium stitch edge mats from noted board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and really cool accessories, it's a complete system that upgrades every game you play. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.